Hey everybody, this is Chad Daniels, and you have landed in the middle of somewhere. Hello, how are you? Thank you for coming back. Across from me, as always, is Cyrus Amundson.
Left a sick wife and a sick baby like a hero to be here.
Well, if they're both sick, what are you supposed to do? Stick around and get sick?
They got sick like 4 days before I left to come here.
Yeah.
And the whole 4 days I was like, I think you guys should handle it on your own. Really hands off for 4 days.
Change each other's diapers.
And then I took off.
Yeah, good for you. It's
He's not. So we've talked about this. He had this oxygen issue.
Mm-hmm.
My son. We're speaking of my son.
Yeah. The secret son.
Secret son who's now a known son.
Yeah.
People are aware. So the first year of his life, he was on oxygen because he had a throat issue. And part of the thing is, I'm sure I've said this before, but he had to, a lot when he's younger, he preferred to co-sleep, like lean forward onto her chest to co-sleep.
Yeah.
I think it opened his airway. And so, and people are real intense about whether or not a baby should sleep in a crib or not.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you guys were intense. When I first went there when he had his oxygen tank, I was smoking around it.
Yeah.
And you guys were pretty pissed. You're like, that can blow up. And it's like, well, I don't want to have to smoke over there, hold it, and then walk all the way back to him to blow it in his face. So, like, save me a trip, please.
People don't. So here's the real. I've never talked about it. We've ever talked about any of this?
I don't listen to this show.
I don't even know if I've told you this in real life.
Okay.
So he's born, and for the first couple weeks of his life, he's doing all right. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, you put him down for a nap, and he just can't nap on his back.
Okay.
And that's what babies are supposed to do at that age.
Right.
And he just can't do it. And it gets worse, and then he's having a hard time sleeping at night. So we go in, they think it's acid reflux, and that doesn't work, right? Like they put him on, I didn't know babies can be on like baby acid reflux I think it's like common.
I think babies can be on anything.
Sure, I guess.
I'm going to tell you something. If someone needs a medication, there's a company in this country that will make it and overcharge you for it.
In a baby, yeah, absolutely. So, I thought you meant like if there's a medication out there, there's somebody's like, what if we had a baby version of that?
Well, kind of. Aspirin. Started with aspirin.
Baby aspirin, absolutely. And then you, so baby AIDS medication. So,
right.
He started having like making weird noises and like snoring and stuff. And so he had a tongue tie, which is not, there's a debate in the medical community about whether tongue ties are real, whether they matter.
Interesting.
Right. And in Ohio, it's literally, where we're from, there are two different hospital systems. And one hospital system is like, we believe tongue ties matter and we like to cut them. And the other one is like, there's no evidence. None whatsoever.
Is this a Democratic and a Republican hospital system?
It's what it feels like, but it's not. It's just
there's just split down the middle.
There's a divide on whether or not cutting tongue ties, is it like, there's one sort of, because there's different sort of ties. You can be tied here, here. I don't listen at doctors' appointments.
Kelsey got a tongue tie release.
As an adult.
Of
course she did. And I could have guessed that because of how new age medicine she is.
But she needed it, and I guess it helped. But when she went back for the first visit, the doctor was like, "Ooh, got you a little tight there," and she was like, "What the fuck? What the fuck do you mean you got me a little tight here? I speak for a living, for Christ's sake."
Did she have a really emotional experience?
I believe so.
So it's really interesting. When I'll skip ahead and then I'll go back. But
like a Tarantino film.
That is exactly what my part of the show is like. Basically, we went to this dentist for him to get a tongue tie removal because he's having all these problems with his mouth and all this stuff. And she was telling us how they've started doing them on adults. And then she sent me down the rabbit hole of adults who had just had their tongue tie released, their reaction. And it is a lot of like, because you've had this thing called Somatic, therapy, and I've done I've done craniosacral.
Yep.
This is going to be such an insufferable part of our show.
I know it is, but just to let you know what somatic therapy is you go in, like, let's say if you have trouble with your body, right?
Define that better.
You don't like your body.
Oh, you hate your body.
You dislike your body.
We don't use the word hate.
You go in, and then a woman that you don't know pushes on your back fat and hopes that helps. And you go, well, I don't think you're supposed to be able to push through that much before you get to where you're going.
It's a type of...
By the way, I have a question.
Yes, love it.
Is the dentist in Ohio the abortion clinic of tongue tie things? Why do you have to go to a dentist office for it? It seems like a back alley tongue tie release.
No, children's dentists are the one who do the tongue tie releases.
Oh.
Pediatric dentists.
Okay.
So, anyway, we go in there. But what I was going to say about that, it's a lot like there's these therapies where, like, you get muscle releases in your face and neck.
Right. Yeah.
And then it does what it's supposed to do for your body physically. Like, oh, we reset some stuff. Like a physical therapy.
Yeah.
But then they'll tell you, like, hey, just as a heads up, this is a place that you hold a lot of tension in your body.
Yeah.
And you might have some sort of emotional response to this. And you're like, okay. Yeah. And then you're weeping in the car on the way home. You're like, I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah. You're like, I date chicks, so I'll be good, dude. And then you get in the car and you're like, I don't know what's going on. That's happened to me. I was so pissed off the first night I got somatic therapy. I was inexplainably,
let's go with unexplainably,
pissed off. I remember I walked in to get pizza that Kelsey had ordered, and it was already ready, and they didn't call my name, and I was ready to have a fucking heart attack. And I was waiting there after they go, hey man, are you waiting for something? I go, yeah, it should be under Kelsey. And they go, oh, your pizzas are right here. And I go, cool. And then I walked up to get them, and I'm waiting with my wallet in my hand for like 4 minutes. No one's making eye contact with me. And I go, do I need to pay for this? And then the guy goes, no, man, she ordered online. She paid online. And I go, cool. And then I grabbed the shit, and I was so fucking grumpy. So grumpy. And then she goes, this could be the somatic. I go, it's not the somatic therapy. Like, yelling about that. And then the next day felt so good.
Yeah.
Felt unbelievably good. And I remember that she says stuff like, Kelsey says, the body keeps the score. Ugh. Which should be in a horror movie.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like something a haunted baby would say.
Yeah. A haunted baby or a really old woman just looks at you with black eyes and goes, the body keeps the score. And you go, I'm getting the fuck out of here. So she says that, and I think that's what that is. It's like you have all these emotions, and they clog up. And sometimes that's why you have to
I don't know about the clog up stuff, but I will say if you're tense, like just think about if you're stressed out at work, you probably hold that in certain places. Yeah. And then it's kind of like if you eat fast food every day, you don't really realize, and then you don't really recognize how it feels to eat fast food. And if you eat no fast food for 3 months, and then you have, a Whopper, you're like, holy shit, this makes me feel, you just get used to stuff.
Right.
So I think when you're really tense and your body tenses up and it holds all that stuff, and then eventually you just kind of get used to it. And if somebody comes in and is like, let's just get rid of that, you go, oh, I'm a person again. I think that's probably what happens.
I was out for a walk and screamed my dad wanted to abort me. 2 hours after somatic therapy.
So somatic therapy is like an extra level of craniosacral.
Yeah.
And that's like working on some of the tense muscles. And what they tell you in there is they're like, you might space. It's not like you're going to have an emotional reaction, but like just be prepared. You might be overly relaxed. And I was like, sure. And then I got in the car, and at one point I was like, I haven't looked up at the window in a minute and a half. I'm just staring at the floor while driving. And then I remember just pulling over on the side of the road, just like, I wonder how long I'll be here like this. You know when somebody gets paralyzed by a drug in a movie, but they can't move, but their like eyes are like, when? Are they going to bury me alive?
Scooby-Doo painting eyes.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
I remember when I went to get this somatic therapy, it's at a massage place, which I have been there for massages, right? You go back, there's like this fucking dojo door that opens up. It's made of rice paper, and you walk through, and there's these chaise lounges that are there, and lemon water and all sorts of shit, and there's a fireplace, and you just really relax. And then I went for somatic therapy, and the whole time I'm like, you know what? I'm just doing this because Kelsey wants me to do this. I'm going to go fucking try it. So she stops asking me to do it, and then that's what this is going to be about. I go, it's not going to work. There's no way someone's going to push on my fucking shoulder, and I'm going to whatever. And then I go there, and I go, just head back, and they go, oh, somatic therapy's downstairs. And so I go downstairs, where the storage, I have to walk by storage into this little tiny room, and there is an Asian lady in there and doctor. And
Asian lady and a doctor?
Asian lady is the doctor.
Asian lady doctor.
And
the doctor was a woman.
And she started talking to me, and I immediately was like, oh, fuck, this is going to work. It really was like a hidden area. I felt very Golden Childy, which is an old reference. But
can I detour us for a second?
Please do.
Probably the least good thing I'm doing in my house right now. So when I was on vacation to the Caribbean, when I went there, they had those chaise lounge beach chairs.
Sure.
You know, the ones that are, we maybe talked about this when BT Cody and I went, but they have the straps. They're like a bunch of vinyl or rubber straps. And I don't know what it is. I don't sit in chairs easy. That's why we stand and do this stupid podcast. But like it's not easy for me to relax in chairs. And whatever it is about the give of those straps, I could lay in them.
Oh.
And so it was a really big deal to me. And so I came home.
You bought 6 pounds of pork from the Iberian Peninsula.
Yep.
And a chaise lounge.
Beach chair that is currently in our living room.
Yeah.
Next to our couch, in front of our TV. And my wife deserves an award.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the process. I'm like, here's the thing. Do you think we have an upstairs and a downstairs? We have a lake house. We have an upstairs and a downstairs. We have an upstairs and a downstairs. My wife's an earner. We have an upstairs.
By the way, since you keep interrupting yourself, I'm going to interrupt you for a second and say, if you're listening to the podcast, you won't know this, but if you're watching on YouTube and you see what Sai is wearing, you know he has a beach chair in his house. You look like an assistant tennis pro that's been accused of date rape.
Okay. That works. That was good. So
yes,
my plan is that hasn't been approved. What am I going to haul a chaise lounge up and down the stairs?
Right. That's silly.
That's silly. No, get another chaise
Gotta
lounge.
get two. They come in pairs, baby.
So we'll see what my relationship is like by the time you get to Cincinnati to see if once I have multiple outdoor beach chairs.
Yeah. May 9th and 10th, go bananas.
May 9th and 10th at Go Bananas. Yeah. The Chattels and I won't be there on your shows, but I'll be spending time with you.
Yeah.
And you'll be spending time with my babies.
Do you want to practice? Can I do a guess set? No, you may not. All right, we did it.
Should I feature for you?
No.
Okay. Should I? I'm still, okay. So. When I do, so mine is craniosacral, which is the step below. Okay. But yeah, it is. It does. It has a. It is a really, really, really interesting. I think anybody. I've always been into really foofy shit, and now you're slowly getting into it because of your foofy partner.
Yeah.
And I love it because now we can talk about this stuff.
Well, yeah, I like most of it. I mean, I give it a try, and then if it works, great. If it doesn't, I mean, at one point, I was not allowed to eat dairy or eggs, and I felt great, lost some weight.
Are you back on the dairy?
Looked younger. Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sunday some people believe he has tongue ties.
Okay.
And some people believe he does not have tongue ties. And we're trying to figure out, we don't know what's wrong with him. We don't know what all these noises are. We don't know why he can't sleep. People are thinking that his tongue is getting in the way of his breathing, and it's kind of like it's causing him stuff.
Sure.
So we go to a pediatric dentist, and we kind of tell her and very, very fortunate for this lady.
Okay.
Because we tell her what's going on, and if you were just like trying to make a buck or not paying close attention, she could easily go like, all right, cool, do it. And she immediately stops and she goes, whoa, 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 we're not doing the procedure. Because you scheduled the procedure. We were coming in there. We'd already met her once, and then we brought him in for the procedure. And she's like, no way. You need to, if what you're telling me is happening, you need to get an appointment with a pulmonologist, like some doc immediately. She goes, you go get that appointment. You go to your pediatrician. This is what I'm worried is happening. Go right now.
The dentist was a woman.
And so she was an Asian woman, actually. And so we go to our pediatric doctor, and I do, whenever I think there's something important that you need from a doctor, I do this thing called lying.
Yeah.
Because what they do when you're a new parent is they go, you bring in and you're like, hey, my baby's missing a foot. And they go, oh, is this your first child? Because babies don't always have feet all the time. Are you sleeping all right? Is this your first child? It's fucking infuriating. So what I do, having spent a fair amount of time in the medical system, if I'm worried that something is going on, I will look up the things that if I say them to a doctor and they don't do something in response to it, it could be considered malpractice.
Oh, you go deep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of those things is, and Sunday had been snoring, but it was like, if a baby at that age is snoring and we tell you that and you don't immediately get us an urgent appointment over here, you're liable. And so that's what I did. Because the first part, I wasn't going to use that right away. We came in with a plan and we're like, is this all right? And one of their real suggestions was, she was like, you just need to let him cry. And we're like, well, we tried that, but he cries. She's like, eventually he'll wear out. I was like, your plan is for this baby to cry itself to an exhausted sleep when we came here with this other doctor being like, I'm really worried about this very serious thing. Yeah. And I was like, he's snoring. He snores all the time. And she's like, well, where does it come out of his nose or his mouth? Like she was going to catch me. Like I didn't research what a snore is.
Yeah.
Come on.
So you know how many times I've said, all right, fucko, you're a doctor in Fergus Falls. Get me the appointment. I've said that a lot because that first kid thing is so true.
It's crazy.
They go, oh, yeah, new parent?
Yeah.
Oh. And you go, yeah, but not like new to earth, motherfucker.
So I'm hammering, I'm answering it's like I'm passing a test. And almost at the end, she's like, like I won. And she's like, well, let's get you in. Let's get you in as quick as we possibly can. And so we leave. We get an appointment with a pulmonologist who looks at, he's got this thing called laryngomalacia, like we've talked about. Mm-hmm. And they're like, he needs a sleep study right away. Right. And they put him on the sleep study. And the whole while, everybody at the sleep study, everybody's like, new parent? No, new parent? So in one of his, like, I might screw this up, but in one of his like 2 or 3 hours worth of sleep, he had 160 episodes of sleep disturbance.
Oh.
As a fucking baby. And some of them were pretty scary. And so we walked out of that. And here's how you know it was pretty scary, because they stopped going, oh, first parent, and they go, so we're gonna actually drive him to Children's from here. We're gonna drive him to Children's Hospital from this, so you guys can't veer away from medical care at any given moment.
And you walk into the waiting room and see other parents, and you go, hey, let them keep talking. They'll wear themselves out. Eventually bring you to the real fucking doctor.
So we get there, and the whole thing is like, he's got to go on oxygen for a while. It's not a super uncommon thing. A lot of kids, you don't notice it. A lot of it's not severe. And often as they grow out of it. Him, it kind of got worse and worse, and he eventually had to have the surgery, and then he kept being on oxygen for a year. But like the summarization of that appointment, like of all that was like, oh, if we'd have just, because when Jenna was leaving, the doctor, and this is not the pediatrician we have, it was somebody else. They were like, you you just got to let him. He's got like kind of making her feel bad that we were doing something wrong. And if we'd have gone home and just left him there to cry like that on his back with those sort of disturbances.
Yeah, who knows?
Who fucking knows?
Right.
Right? So, yeah, he had the where the fuck did I start? What is the point of all this? What did I start this show with? Why am I talking about this?
You're talking about tongue ties.
Is this therapy now?
Yeah, maybe. But you were talking about tongue ties and stuff.
And why were we? You don't even listen to. It's not. You don't just not listen to the show after the show. You don't listen to it during the show.
Yeah. What's your son's name?
So
I have a son too. He had 170 sleep disturbances.
No, it's not a competition.
In 3 hours.
It's not a competition.
And I remember I looked at everyone in the room and I go, God, not one of them got him. I just want a little fucking peace and quiet around this house.
It's because I was talking about him being sick.
Yeah.
He's sick right now. Jenna and he are sick at home. Don't of course me.
Of course, and you left him. I didn't want to throw you under the bus and be like, oh, hey, Stevie D, you abandon your family. That's where this started.
Don't you call me that. So he, long story short, they started.
I doubt it. Jesus Christ, you can't call that now.
Let's get behind the curtain. Can I do an impression of our before the show? Hey, what are we talking about in this episode? I really like my new golf swing. Oh, okay. Well, here comes a story from the baby's childhood.
To be fair, it's looking good. Today is the first day in a long time I had a golf pro go, God, you got a good move. It takes to hear a golf pro tell you have a good move is like, you're on it. You're fucking on it, baby. Okay, your son's sick.
Was he selling lessons?
No.
Was he selling lessons?
Because I asked him, I go, any chance you can come over here and watch this for 15 minutes? I'll pay you for like whatever that is. Mm-hmm. And he goes, oh man, I got 9 lessons today. And I go, all right, no problem. He goes, I'll come over and watch 2 swings. And he did, and he goes, good move. We got to figure out where your grip is. And I showed him and he goes, oh, that's why. You've been watching YouTube videos? And I go, yep. And he goes, you got to get it back in your fingers. It can't be up on your pad. Yeah. And I go, okay. And then first rip, carried at 270. Everybody suck my fucking dick. Tell me about
Were you outside?
Your son is sick?
Were you outside doing it? Or you at a simulator?
At a simulator.
How desperate are you for? I mean, we are
for another man's love.
Yeah, so
pretty desperate.
That's not accurate because there's another man that's been offering it for a really long time. Hasn't been reciprocated.
More of a boy.
So he's this entire time that he's going through this medical issue, almost a year and a half. Mm-hmm. If you put him on his back, he would wake up. And so he was always sleeping on Jenna. So he couldn't sleep on a crib. So he had to co-sleep. And people aren't nobody likes that in this country. Right. And, we would have loved to have had him on, sleeping independently. It's the safer thing. It just wasn't an option. And so we're trying to find out the safest way to do the co-sleeping thing. And it was really cool because what no one tells you about having a baby is that you have them. Mm-hmm. And then they come out and you just nervously wait for a whole calendar year to see if you get all the way to a year.
Yeah.
It's fucking terrible.
It's terrifying.
You didn't tell me that. It's the whole first year you're like, how's today going to go? It's awful.
Yeah. They go,
I loved it, but I loved the other stuff, but it was awful. Of course.
They basically, you have the kid and they go, did you bring your car seat? And you go, yep. And you go, how long did it take you to put it in your car and get it figured out right? And you go, oh, God, 4 hours. And they go, all right, take your kid home. Good luck. There's too many people in this country, so we don't ask any more questions than that.
The problem with when you let a kid sleep with you and on you, and I think I've said this on the podcast before, until they're that old, is now it's not just them a baby, it's a habit for them. They're more engaged. They understand the world. And to him, he's like, well, this is how we go to bed.
Right.
This bed for me. I think in his mind, he's like, oh, is dad going to bed? So he's going to go crawl on top of his mommy. And so this is what we all do. Yeah. At nighttime, we all crawl on top of people and fall asleep. And at this point, he's getting better at sleeping next to her, but he's so tall. Mm-hmm. And he's so bald. You just walk in and it looks like somebody's like an alien is abducting Jenna. I'll take you with me. And but so he's gotten a lot better. You know, we're working on it because we don't want a 16-year-old sleeping on top of Jenna.
Oh, dude, I have a buddy who breastfed till he was 7, drinks beer out of a bottle.
And so, but when he gets sick, the sleep thing is a different beast. For 4 days straight, he has woken up in a full scream cry. And he just like, he wakes up screaming, crying, he wants some milk. And we're like, all right, it's out we have a mini fridge upstairs. We're trying to train him to get his own milk.
Now, when you say we're like, do you mean that you're on FaceTime doing
Come
this?
on. When he's sick? Yeah. And we don't have great internet, so it doesn't always carry between the floors. But yeah, it was a hard leave. Ethan had been down visiting, and so he and I flew back here together, and so he was also isolating from the baby, dude. But the baby, the babies do stuff that is that I wasn't prepared for. How endeared I would be to certain, like I was. Sure. So he learned Ethan's name on this trip. And he can't say hardly anything, but he full on is like, Ethan.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got both syllables and the th, Ethan.
That's really creepy for a long, bald baby.
Yeah, it is. Ethan.
Yeah.
Come with me.
Ethan.
The body keeps the score.
And so the first night he got sick, he woke up, just wakes up out of bed and just starts going, Ethan! Really upset, won't calm down. Finally, I was like, should we just take him down to see Ethan? And so, you know, our living room, we have a really long downstairs living room. So way up front is the couch and the TV and the chaise beach chair. And then there's a big space and there's another couch way back here against this wall. So they came back and Jenna and Sunday laid on the way back couch. Just so like he could watch Ethan watch basketball. And it was funny when he came into view, the baby literally was like, okay, he's okay. I'll watch him.
Maybe he had a bad dream that something happened to old Ethy.
He might have. And that was very cute, seeing your baby love one of your other family members. But so when we left, we were pulling out of the driveway, and he was like pretty upset that Ethan was leaving. So we got in the car, and Jenna followed us out. And he's just like on her hip, like half crying, half cuddling her, waving at both of us. Like when he waves, he like clutches his hand. Yeah. So he does one to me, and then he's going back and forth with the wave. And I don't know how anyone ever leaves their house. That was a tough drive away.
Daddy go bye-bye, yes. Ethan go bye-bye, no.
So yeah, and then I came here.
Yeah, and Ethan was here last night, and he got to sign a book.
Ethan got to sign a book
because somebody asked. They go, hey, hate to bug you. Are you Ethan? And he goes, yeah. Madonna scale, Ethan. And he goes, yeah. And he goes, size your uncle, right? And he goes, yeah. He goes, oh man, it's like I feel like I know you, dude. I gotta have you sign my book.
So here's
the thing. I go, please point to who asked you to sign the book, and he pointed him out. And then I kind of hovered around that guy because people were asking the comedians that were on the show to sign the book. Mm-hmm. And then I looked all the way through his book and scribbled out Ethan's autograph.
So for context, a fella by the name of Patrick Strait wrote a book about the club we came up at.
Acme Comedy
and the
Company.
Owner of the club.
Lewis Lee.
And we are going to have him on the show at some point. I think when we get Justin... told me that once we get a stool that's tall enough that we can actually see him on camera.
Oh, that's fucked up.
And so Lewis famously doesn't like to be in front of people, doesn't like people to know who he is. He hates it. And so last night, for the first time in his life, for the book release party that was here at Acme, he sat on stage and then asked questions. And then a bunch of comics that have been here through the years came up.
Yeah, Lewis was asked questions by Patrick.
Yes.
And Lewis was not thrilled.
Didn't love it.
The mayor of Minneapolis was here with a proclamation that basically was like, today is Acme Comedy Company Day in Minnesota.
We got our own day on the calendar.
And Lewis was so uncomfortable being on stage while the mayor was reading it. Lewis was also looking at it, pretending that he could read it.
So what I noticed, so a lot of the people who are here have been coming to this club 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Some in the comedy scene longer, like people who really love this place. And a lot of people here who really, not so much know our podcast, but Ethan, my nephew, has been coming around this club, Justin, since he was 14, probably. We started bringing him around to shows way before he should have been allowed to. And there were a handful of people last night who saw Ethan when he was a child and haven't seen him now when he's in his 30s, and walked by and drunkenly went, "Ethan's hot now." Didn't even talk to him, just said that to him and kept going.
Yep, former manager.
Oh, it was a few people.
Oh, okay.
Several people of both genders shockingly reported Ethan's own hotness to his face.
So we went
I don't want to talk about it.
For the people that don't know,
I don't want to talk about it.
Lewis Lee is from Hong Kong, across the bay in Hong Kong. I can't remember the name of the place, but
let's not guess.
Yeah, no, thank you.
He's immigrated here in his early 20s.
Yeah, to go to college.
Yes, the University of Minnesota. We'll let him, when he's on the show, tell the story. But eventually, through trials and tribulation, built one of, in our opinion, the best comedy clubs in America.
And when we do have him on and he's telling this story, you're gonna want to switch over to YouTube for the caption.
Yeah, caption it. You're gonna want the captions for sure. Yeah. So yes, he's from Hong Kong,
and so he was sitting
I don't want
to
talk about it.
He was sitting here, and they announced a couple of comedians before us.
The great J. Elvis Weinstein.
Oh, what a fantastic
was great.
mind that guy has.
Tim Slagle.
Tim Slagle's up here, crushing before us, and they announce us. Now, for some reason, you and I get paired together. Everyone else gets to go up by themselves. And you and I get paired together.
We didn't get asked if we'd like to be paired together.
Yeah, they just did. They just did it. They go, Sign Chat are going to go up at the same time because of how they were announcing us. They were like announcing that people that started at the club.
Yeah.
And then gained traction in the comedy world, which made me feel like I should still have my own slot.
Do you think part of it is, when you see a couple that's really good in public, but if you hang out with them at their house, you're like, what the fuck? I think we're a good party couple.
Yeah. Right now, there's someone with a ball in their mouth in their closet. And so they announce our names.
Come on. Can I at least tell you how it came about?
Well, let me tell the thing first.
Fine.
Let me do what you do.
You have less to lose. You made a less dumb choice.
So we have Brandon play the sound of wind.
Yeah.
An element.
Howling wind.
An element. Wind. And we thought, well, Chinese people like elements. So let's do this. And we play wind, and then we walk up. And Patrick sees us first. I am wearing a full samurai outfit with a helmet. It's a foam helmet, but it's a helmet nonetheless. One of the horns does not stick up. It's down like a fucking confused dog. And I walk up, and then you are wearing, was it a geisha?
It was a geisha outfit.
Okay, so you have a geisha outfit. And now that they know how we were dressed.
I don't have the geisha makeup on.
Correct. I will say at one point you felt like it was exposing too much skin.
Come on.
I did. I'm going to tell you. You felt like it was exposing too much skin. So when we were in the office, you go, "Hey, can I grab the tape?" And I go, "Oh no, he's going to do the eyes." That's what I thought. And I was like, "That's fucking, I will rip it off if you do it."
See, this is our close friend.
Of course.
And we were very conscious of
this
the
isn't something we're going to do out on the street corner, for Christ's sake. This is for him. We're doing this for him.
So great. So I did.
But to pick two Japanese things for a Chinese guy is
So
just
funny.
fucking outrageous.
So funny.
It's outrageously funny.
If you've ever heard him talk about Chinese versus Japanese people, it was the high, and not mentioning it, just doing it and going up.
Yeah.
Very fun for us.
Yeah.
Now I did that. It did come about. I messaged you when I realized we were paired together.
Yeah.
Well, the guy who was running the thing, he took a lot of time and a lot of effort, and he sent us a giant list, like a script
Of the questions.
Yeah. And neither of us responded to that group message, and I separately sent you a message that said, we're not doing any of that shit.
I believe it was, we're just taking over, right? And I was there for it.
Yeah. And so my original thought, I asked you if we should do the geisha thing.
Right.
And you smartly said, I don't think we should do the makeup.
Yeah, that was my first thing. I think anytime makeup's involved
It's
in
a
a
bad
costume, that's where trouble starts.
That's where trouble starts.
Yeah.
So we buy the costumes.
You buy the
I
costumes.
buy the costumes.
I still
Madonna
owe
scale. One of them gets here day of, and Madonna scale Ethan at 6:30 is racing to someone's house that we delivered it to.
Yeah.
To pick up your samurai
Yeah.
costume. We get them down here, and now here was what I thought was fun.
Mm-hmm.
We decided that we would plot what we were going to do out in an order, but not in specifics. So
Right.
all we knew going up was I knew you were going to start and say some stuff,
Yep.
and then I was going to do a thing I had planned,
Uh-huh.
and then you were going to say a meaningful thing that you cared about,
Yeah.
and then I was going to say a meaningful thing that we cared about. That was basically the discussion.
Yeah.
And
So when I was in the sound booth, I decided that I was going to read the lyrics to Everybody Was Kung Fu Fighting, but read them as if they were his son sent me his journal entries from when he lived in China.
And well, because the reason is because part of the book was that. So one of the things, Lewis came here, didn't know English,
Right.
learned enough English to go to college, and has credited, I believe, part of stand-up comedy as helping him with the language barrier.
Right, to learn to, yeah.
And so he left, and there was reasons that he left China, and you
Right.
said, that's what he's telling you, but I have this thing from
This
his
journal
journal
entry
and then it was,
From the last few days that he lived in China. And then I read Everybody Was Kung Fu Fighting, the lyrics.
And here's the thing, so Lewis likes to gamble.
Yeah.
And he likes an emotional bet. Because I think he's done really well. He's really successful. And what have we said about successful people? The only thing they have
They
left
can
to do...
only come if they get choked. Oh,
Yep,
wait, what?
All they have left is to fuck people they shouldn't.
Yeah.
That's all that's left, metaphorically or physically.
Yeah.
Right? And so he likes to wield power, and he likes to take advantage of you as a sports fan. So he knows I love the Vikings.
Right.
So for years, he would sucker me into a bet. And if he lost, he had to introduce me on stage. That's all I ever wanted, because he'd never been on stage. And if he was going to introduce me on stage, I was going to make mayhem out of it.
Of course.
And I would lose every year. And one year, he said, the bet was, he said, if you lose, because Aaron Rodgers was the Packers quarterback, who's the Vikings' main rival.
Right.
And he said, and I didn't pay close enough attention to the words.
I don't believe you, but keep going.
He said, if you lose, you have to put on an Aaron Rodgers jersey of my choosing and eat a meal on camera. And so I heard that, and I think he said, eat a meal that I pick on camera.
Uh-huh.
And so he loves to cook. So it was a really well designed bet, because I didn't think about a jersey of my choosing, because I was like, that means he gets to buy it. I don't get to pick. It has to be a Packers, because maybe I pick his college jersey or something else.
Right.
And then he's probably going to make me some disgusting meal. So I sit and I eat this terrible meal on camera. It's a big gag.
For somebody who is hard to understand when you're listening to them in real life,
Yeah.
he is a fucking wizard contractually.
So I lose that bet, and I show up the day. Our friend Tim Harmston has a whole camera crew there to film whatever this thing is.
Uh-huh.
And I show up to get rid of it, and I walk in, and he has a children's Aaron Rodgers jersey.
Yeah.
That is so tight on me that it looks like I have fake tits. And I sit down in it, and I go, where's the meal? And he walks up and he hands me just a banana. And I go, this isn't a meal. He goes, It's my meal. And
That's so funny.
I eat a banana on camera, and I am headlining that week at Acme, and it is Easter weekend. And my whole family comes out on the weekend, and before the show...
Oh, no.
Do you not know
I didn't
this?
know that.
You don't know this?
No.
Before the show, he just, without anybody, with no announcements, like, and now we have a special video, he just darkens the room, draws a screen down... And then
he's such a feeble bitch.
Yeah, so did I wear a top bun geisha costume? Fuck, you're fucking right, I did.
Yeah.
So he shows to fans, strangers, and my immediate family a slow motion video without music or sound, just slow motion in a child's jersey eating. Outrageous. Outrageous.
I didn't know the video. I didn't know the drop the screen part.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I'm going to get a hold of this video.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
No, you're not. I think he has more integrity than that.
I don't think he does.
I think he does.
I'm going to make a bet with him.
And if you win, you get the video?
Yep.
Should I put it on our Patreon?
Yep.
I bet I could do that.
Yeah. I think you should.
I don't know how well we're going to follow through on that, but I will.
But I get 80% of the money because it was my idea.
Here's the thing. Okay. Justin, put it up for free? If we end up executing this promise, it'll have been mentioned on the beginning of the show that it's currently up there. Yeah. But so when you finished your thing, what I had decided to do was, because what I think letters are very funny. I think reading a letter, interventions are a terrible and serious thing. Yeah. But the letter process of it is the funniest thing in the world. Sunday has been sick, by the way, since the moment he started daycare, just months. And that cost me something funny. At your 50th birthday, I was in the process. I'd hired an actor. Okay. I hired an old man actor. And I called and I cleared this with Kelsey. Okay. And it was a wild phone call. Because I called her, and in my brain, I was like, I can't wait to tell Kelsey this.
You guys often have calls that I don't know what the fuck's...
It's fine. And
Unbelievable.
I forgot that she's like a grown-up who's in charge of stuff and always has the ability to think logistically and maturely before in a funny way. Mm-hmm. And so I go, here's what I want to do. I've got an actor hired, and I'm writing a letter, and I want him to crash the party. And she's like, it's at a restaurant, I think. Dad? It's not your dad. Oh. It was way better. It was you from the future.
Oh my God.
And I didn't, so here's the thing. I started writing, so basically he was going to come in and get everybody's attention. And the storyline was that he was going to start out by going, hi, Chad, it's me. I know you're not going to believe this, but you from the future. And I'm in therapy, surprise. Still. And what he was going to say was that his therapist decided to deal with one of his recent public freakouts, that he felt like maybe you were dealing with some regret issues, and maybe it would help if Chad in that universe, wrote a letter to his younger self. And so he was writing a letter to his 50-year-old self, this old Chad was. And then while he was working on the letter, they invented time travel.
Jesus Christ.
And he decided to come back in time and just read it to you at your 50th birthday party.
Maybe your son wouldn't always be sick if you spent time with him.
And so I didn't get the letter done, but can I read you just the very opening sentence?
Of course.
Dear Chad, I know what you're thinking. We look great for AIDS at 80. Hey, if you guys like this, there will be a new episode next Monday and every single Monday at 8 a.m. So click the subscribe button so your phone sends it to you without having to do any work.